Hey guys, what's up? It's Dark here and welcome back to another Mage Tower Tank Challenge guide. Today we are doing the Guardian Druid. Yesterday I uploaded my prop paladin and in the same Mage Tower cycle I completed the Guardian Druid as well. And same spiel, I know there's been guides up for nearly 3 months now for this stuff, but when I did the DK one first, a couple of months ago, I said that I wanted to make guides for every tank, and I do not have the ability to sort of gear them up and sink that much time into playing them all at once, so I have to do them one by one, and I wanted the guides on my channel, so that's why I'm making the video, and hopefully if you're in the same sort of boat, hopefully this guide can help you out in any way. So I'm going to run through the same thing I do on all the Mage Tower videos. I'm going to go over talents, consumables, macros, add-ons, weak auras, legendaries. I'm going to give you a rundown of Phase 1, Phase 2, and then I would normally play my kill video and talk you through it. However, I didn't record my kill on this one. I got to the fucking end and realized I hadn't hit record, which was fucking devastating. I do, however, have a 5% wipe where I'm terrible, which I can walk you through and show you what's going on anyway. So starting off, guys, talents-wise. So talents, there's a little bit of choice on the Druid tree, and a couple of guides suggest different things, but I'm obviously just going to give you what I ran with. So, level 15, I went with Blood Frenzy. I wanted the extra rage over the extra damage from Brambles, so I went with Blood Frenzy. Level 30, I went with Guttural Roars. Wild Charge is another option if you want a safety net from being knocked back and something to charge. However, I like the increased radius of Stampeding Roar really didn't do anything, but the increased radius for Incap Roar was really good, and obviously the reduced cooldown for Stampeding Roar was really good, especially when you need to kite around, get to orbs, or in Phase 2 with Cruel and getting out of green shit and things like that. So I really like Guttural Roars. Level 45, Balance Affinity is the only option you want in here. Obviously, we want the increased radius on our Thrash and Swipe. Level 60, Mighty Bash. There's two options here, Mighty Bash or Typhoon. Typhoon allows you to punt back the adds and an interrupt on Varus. Mighty Bash, however, allows you to stun Varus and stun Cruel. Stunning Cruel means delaying annihilates. Mighty Bash, in my opinion, is a far better option than Typhoon. However, it's completely choice related. Level 75, you've got two options again. I went with Incarnation. The huge DPS boost from Incarnation I think is really valuable in Phase 1 and amazing in Phase 2. Galactic Guardian is obviously going to give you a real sort of impact in Phase 1. However, it's kind of going to do fuck all in Phase 2, I feel. So I went with Incarn. Level 90, Guardian of Elune is the only option, and level 100, Rend and Tear is the only option. You're not going to be in enough to sort of pulverize because we're on the outside, and Rend and Tear is just a better option for this scenario in its entirety, so Rend and Tear. On to consumables, guys. So consumable-wise, I went with an Agility Flask, obviously, Flask of the 7th Demon. Food-wise, you can go with either Bear Tartar, which I recommend, or you can go with the Versatility Food. However, I do recommend Bear Tartar as the movement speed is fantastic. Potion-wise, you can either run with a Potion of Prolonged Power, they're cheaper, they're easier to get obviously, or you can go with Potion of Old War, which will yield more DPS. Defiled Augment Room, Goblin Glider, if you're an engineer, I suggest putting a Frag Belt on your belt as well to help with an extra interrupt on Varus, and Drums of Fury are a must as well. So, that's it for consumables. Moving on to macros and weak auras. So macro wise, I used a focused Skull Bash macro for Cruel and for Varus. It just means that if Drain Life goes off and you're targeting an eye for Moonfire, you can just hit Skull Bash and get a charge off and interrupt that cast, obviously. That'll be in the description to copy. There's also my weak auras that I've collected for the Mage Tower. They are in the description that you can go to Pastebin and get those to put into your weak auras. And there's also the DBM plugin for the Mage Tower challenges as well, which I really recommend getting. Once you become comfortable with these, the weak auras and things like that really do help you for sort of navigating where you're at in the challenge, in the phase and things like that. Legendaries, guys. Now, I will fucking flat out admit here, it felt like I cheated in this. But it's not my fault. I only had 2 legendaries on my Druid in Guardian spec. 2 legendaries in total, in fact. I didn't have any other spec, I can speak. And they turned out to be fucking epic for this challenge. I had Eco Wraith, Creator of Worlds, and I had Lufa Wrappings. So pretty much, Eco gave me a flat like 4.5% damage reduction through Thickhide, and the most important part is it increased the effect of Astral Influence by 75%, giving me the ridiculous range on Swipe and Thrash. I then had Lufa Wrappings to couple up with that, which increased the damage and radius of Thrash by 25%. So I basically zoned into the Mage Tower and went like XBAY, up, up, down, down, left, right kind of thing. Like, it really did feel cheap. But it's what I did and it's what I had to work with. If you do not have these legendaries, you still can do this. I watched a guide the other day where somebody didn't have loofahs, didn't have echo, and was still managing to hit Varus with swipe and thrash just via balance affinity right on the edge of Aura of Decay. Now, when I mean right on the edge, I mean right on the fucking edge, but they were still able to hit him. So, don't think it's impossible if you don't have these legendaries. It is obviously ridiculously easier with these legendaries though. Other legendaries that would be really good in here, Skysex Hold would be good, obviously the assist with healing. Cephas would be good in regards to the movement speed, and you're going to be proccing it a lot. Everlasting Encasement will be really good as well, as it'll give you the 2 more stacks of Thrash. At 9, 10 plus sort of area, your legendaries aren't going to matter as much though. But obviously, without any doubt, and I'm not trying to sell it any different, it felt like I really cheated with Loofahs and Echo. It was fucking ridiculous. I could run around like an idiot and just hit Thrash and swipe. So let's talk about everything that you are going to see in Phase 1 and Phase 2. So, Phase 1 is Varus and 3 kinds of adds. So the first add you're going to encounter is the Tormenting Eye. So these cast a beam at you called Inquisitive Stare. It's cast at you for 5 seconds. It's a beam. When the beam finishes, if you are not staring at that eye, you get punted backwards. On the Druid, 1 Moonfire, the dot will actually end up killing the eye. So they're really easy to take care of in this. I still do suggest facing him and not chasing him around, but when you do get a chance, throw a Moonfire onto the eye and then you can forget about it and it will die. It is worth mentioning as well, if you leave the eyes up, multiple beams will come from the eye. So if you get 1 beam from an eye, it doesn't mean that that eye is done with. The next lot of beams that go up, that eye will cast another beam again. So just keep that in mind. The next add you're going to deal with are Nether Horrors. Now these are pretty much heat-seeking missiles that run straight for Valen, and you just want to pick them up, thrash, swipe, pick them up. They will auto-attack and put a debuff on you called Psy Talons, which increases the arcane damage you're going to take. They'll then do a thing called Nether Storm, which is a shit ton of arcane damage, which will really fuck you up. So you do want to get these down quite quickly. Popping things like ROTS and thrash swiping on these, they drop really fucking fast anyway, but just be aware of that. You may need to use Incapacitating Roar and things like that to interrupt that Nether Storm, because it does deal a lot of damage. The third add you're going to deal with is a Smoldering Infernal, and these are Infernals that walk across the platform. They slowly lose health. When they get to the end, they kind of banish themselves and then they rebuild and they come back doing it again. They walk around doing a smash cast. That smash cast is a frontal cone that will punt you off the platform pretty much, or well and fucking truly across it. So every time you see the smash cast going off, you need to move. That's pretty much it. You do not waste any damage on them. Now on to the main part of Phase 1, which is of course Varus. Now Varus has 3 things that you need to be aware of: Aura of Decay, Mind Rend, and Drain Life. So Aura of Decay on the Druid one is a fucking gigantic circle of Defile around him. It's the largest of any of the tank challenges. And as you stand in Aura of Decay, you gain a stacking debuff. That stacking debuff reduces your health. It doesn't take health off you. As such, in regards to ticking damage, it reduces your maximum health pool. So the longer you're in it, the more your maximum health actually decreases. And obviously his Mind Rend cast will hit you for a lot. If you've got high stacks, they can end up one-shotting you. General rule of thumb is 3 to 4 stacks. Don't go above 4 stacks. So go in, 3 stacks, get out. Now on the Druid, we don't really have to spend a lot of time in there anyway, so this isn't really as huge a deal as it is for other tanks. The next thing is Mind Rend. So it's a 4-second cast. It deals shadow damage. You want to interrupt these wherever you can. It does hit quite hard. And with the removal of Mark of Ursol, so we lost that magic damage reduction, we have to be a little bit more mindful of this now. But not being in Aura of Decay, it kind of negates that a little bit anyway. Drain Life is the last thing and is super fucking important. You must interrupt every single Drain Life cast that goes off. If 1 or 2 ticks get off, it's not a wipe, but you really want to be on top of interrupting these. So, as I said, the focus macro really comes in handy for that. So that's everything in regards to Phase 1, guys. So into Phase 2 now. So once you've downed Varus, Cruel comes down, all the eyes despawn, you're not dealing with them anymore. The only thing you will still be dealing with is the Infernals that you had up in Phase 1. They will follow you into Phase 2, and you want a maximum of 2 Infernals up when you're transitioning, and the Nether Horrors will continue to spawn, they will continue to run at Velen, they will continue to do their fucking Nether Storm and all that kind of shit, so you just need to be on top of dealing with them as well. Now, Cruel has 3 major abilities. He has Annihilate, Nether Stomp, and Twisted Reflection. Now, Annihilate is a 2-second cast that will absolutely fucking truck you and apply a debuff. Nether Stomp, he jumps at you, he leaves a green pool of shit that really hurts, then you need to get out of. And Twisted Reflection, you must interrupt. If it goes off, it heals him, and you are going to have a really shit time. If a Nether, what the fuck is it called? Sorry, if a Twisted Reflection does go off, you need to get to an orb ASAP to remove that healing buff from him. Otherwise, it's absolutely GG for you. So, Annihilate management is the biggest part of Phase 2 without a doubt. With the Annihilates, you want to delay as many as you can with Orbs and Mighty Bash in this case. So, I'm going to sort of go through with what I did in regards to Annihilates, but as I said, I was always trying to put them off via Mighty Bash and Orbs. So for the first Annihilate cast, I would always Mighty Bash, so it would be back up as I was getting to the more serious end of Annihilate cast. Generally, you can kind of take 4 Annihilate actual hits where they come through. When you get to the 5th territory, you're most likely going to perish as the damage is going to be too big to mitigate. So for the actual hits, for the sequence, I Mighty Bash the first one, I Iron Fur the first hit that I take. The second Annihilate hit, I Shadow Meld it, so if you're on a Night Elf, you can just hit Shadow Meld, he will spin and he will use the Annihilate cast on Corvus, so it's a real easy way to avoid one there. The second actual hit that I take, I Iron Fur and Barkskin it. Third one, Iron Fur and Survival Instincts, and fourth one, Iron Fur and Survival Instincts again. And you can just use Rage of the Sleeper wherever you actually need to in regards to if it's surviving adds, or if you need to throw it into an Annihilate. The big thing to be aware of here as well is that Cruel's auto attacks, they're not dealing a hell of a lot of damage, so really only tip your Rage into your Iron Furs on those Annihilate casts. So that is pretty much it, guys. So I'm going to show you the 5% wipe video, which is really embarrassing. I don't even fucking hero on it, which is really bad, and I kill myself in a really retarded way as well. But I'm going to show you that so I can kind of put everything we've been talking about into it, and yeah, hopefully it helps you out. So let's have a look at the video. Okay guys, so here we are. So the first thing I've done is mark Corvus and Valen. It really helps to keep track of where they are. Varus is going to come. I've set him as a focus target. I am going to pre-pot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to Moonfire and run to the back of the platform. The reason is this makes it really easy in regards to Nether Horrors. I've basically dragged Varus on top of Valen, which means when the Nether Horrors go for him, I'm right in this place. So the first Drain Life's gone off, I've gone in and Skull Bashed that, I'm now popping Incarnation, and I'm just spamming Thrash on the outside of this circle. You can see the adds have spawned, there's an eye up, I'm facing the eye, I've popped Rage of the Sleeper on these first adds, which they're going to Netherstorm. I get them down before that happens and it's not a problem. You can see one Moonfire and the dot's actually going to kill that. Another Drain Life going up, I'm going in with Skull Bash, I'm then going to use Mighty Bash on it, and I'm just continuing to Thrash spam on the outside. The problem at current gear level is when you pop Incarnation, it is not going to be up when you transition into Phase 2. So big thing to remember is when you go through to Phase 2, you're going to have about a minute and a half where Incarnation is not going to be up, where you kind of have to survive and wait. So just be liberal with your orbs. As I tell every tank, there is no need to just maximize the amount of orbs you save going. You know, obviously if you can go into Phase 2 with more orbs up, it's amazing, but use orbs when you need to. You can see I used Incapacitating Roar there to interrupt Varus and the Nether Storm that was going off by the Nether Horrors. Bear Tartar kicking in, I'm able to run around quite quickly. Again, just dealing with the eyes with one Moonfire. Make sure you're keeping up your Moonfire on Varus as well. Using a Frag Belt there for an interrupt. Again, just moving around the outside, thrashing and swiping. You can see how fucking ridiculously easy this is on a Druid. It's a fair joke, especially with these legendaries, guys. I definitely preface that. I had legendaries, I cheated. I got it. So again, just standing on the outside, Varus is about to go down, and you can see I've still got a fairly large cooldown left on Incarn. So I am going to get him down here. My second Infernal just dropped. If I had been a little bit quicker, I could have gone through with only one Infernal, which would have been awesome. So now I'm on to Highlord Cruel. So again, I have not Drums, and I have not second potted yet because I am waiting on Incarn. So I've used Rage of the Sleeper again there on those adds with the Netherstorm just to get them down quickly. There's the Twisted Reflection on Cruel. Here comes the first Annihilate, which I've used Mighty Bash on. And again, I'm just trying to kite crawl sort of around the outside of the room area. Here comes the first Annihilate, which I've used Iron Fur on. And again, if the adds get through to Velen on this tank challenge, you need to pick them up quite quickly. You can see he drops really low there, and I need to get to an orb to get him back up, because the Netherstorm will really rape Velen, so you need to be aware of that. The second Annihilate cast is coming up soon, or did it just come up then and I missed it? I can't fucking see my buttons. No, it hasn't. Here comes the second Annihilate cast coming up soon. Sorry, here it comes now. I'm going to Shadow Meld. It switches straight round to Corvus, and Corvus takes that Annihilate hit for me, which is another way to really save damage on the Night Elf Druid, which is good. You can see these adds, I've incapacitating roared them to get rid of that Nether Stomp again. I get really lucky there where I don't have to use my Goblin Glider, but I was ready to use it if I needed to. Again, you can see how much damage that Nether Storm does. So, that Nether Storm does, sorry, from the ad. So you need to be really mindful of that. Again, Twisting Reflections going off. Just make sure you're using your orbs, guys. This is pretty much rinse and repeat now. I used Incarn and I used my second pot and I forgot to hero. Had I have done that, this would have been a lot fucking better. But I'm a fucking stupid tard, and this is what I get for doing that. So it's coming up to where I die in about 10%, which is really embarrassing. But this is pretty much it, guys. You're popping Incarn, popping your second pot, popping hero, and you are just running around thrashing. Use those orbs. I probably should have used the orb there, as I've got a Mighty Bash as well. So I could have orbed him, I could have Mighty Bashed, and I still had Bark Skin up as well. So I would have been fine. I glide into that, and how shit can you be? But that's it, guys. So hopefully that helps you out. And if you've got any questions, do hit me up, because I really do want to try and get people through this. It's an awesome skin, and if I can help you in any way, then that's awesome. So thanks very much for checking out the video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. See you guys.